States.
When we are looking at security, we're also looking at economic challenges. So many issues for Nigeria to grapple with. But issue of corruption is one we appear not to be devoting much attention to. One of the cardinal principles of the Buhari administration, and of course for every government indeed, because it bears positively or negatively, depending on its rate, on issue of a good governance in Nigeria. How will you speak to this in the light of all this?
Thank you for having me. Good day, Nigerians. For me, I think that if we must try to get it right when it comes to corruption issue, we must be able to change standard or change the approach to how we handle these issues. We will deploy technology and then stop this thing at the point of occurrence. Because if we continue to wait, there's prevention. Prevention is actually better than cure when it comes to corruption. Because when you can't recover already depleted funds. Funds that are already been channeled to other sources. There's no way you can recover all these funds.
But it's always difficult.
No, it's always difficult. The cost of recovering this money is also very high. Bringing SAN and bringing all the other professionals together to recover is also another cost on the Nigerian economy. So we must sit down and find channel a way that some of this corruption happens between procurement and contractors who are giving contracts, who take this money cash from their bank and then give back to those who are the approving authority. So if we can't checkmate the accounts of these contractors and these businessmen, then we will be able to checkmate how this proceeds have been siphoned. So these are important mechanisms that we must put in place, not waiting for when the money has been siphoned and then running after the money and then running out and creating more expenses for the Nigerian nation. If we don't need corruption in South Korea, if you take the story of South Korea, you see what they went through before they came to a point and said, look, this is enough and we must get it right. If we have an holistic approach, and the judiciary have done their own best, they are doing their best, but these things are complex in its own nature. They are complex, and we must handle it with all sense of, how they call it, all sense of professionalism, and nip it in the bud before it takes root.
Yes, quite right there. Your perspective.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to our viewers out there. Just to add to my brother's submission, I think we are always reactive. We are not proactive. We are a reactive nation, not proactive nation, unfortunately. The menace of corruption in our dear nation is a major problem that must be tackled. Over the years, talking about the Code of Conduct Bureau, where I worked, the military thought about the need of curbing the menace of corruption as far back during Murtala Mohammed of blessed memory. And the former head of state, President Babangida, came in 1988, tried during the military era. Abdul Salami, the former head of state as well, made it possible that the Code of Conduct Bureau was enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended.
And it's to prevent corruption, like he's saying.
To preventive measures were put in place. And over the years, from 1999, not until President Buhari came, they have truncated, handcuffed the Code of Conduct Bureau, where former president decided to set up another anti-corruption agency, which is good. EFCC and ICPC, for their own selfish interest, to fight their own cause. And then,
now, is it really for their selfish interest?
But now,
or for national interest? Because I know.
No,
let me clarify the statement. I know the pressures to even establish EFCC came from outside Nigeria.
Yes,
hold on.
During the
you don't know the politics behind it. There's not enough time for us to, go into that. The politics that went behind it. But however, thank God, even the EFCC that they set up came to do what they never expected. Today, I give kudos to EFCC, the job they are doing day by day in fighting corruption. And we must applaud them. It is not easy. But however, coming back to Code of Conduct Bureau, the purpose and the aims was to prevent from occurrence just like what my brother said. That is preventive measure put in place. The code of conduct is a business to fight corruption and public officers. Are you with me?
Nigerians,
every Nigerians, every public officers is expected to abide by the rules and regulations prescribed by the Code of Conduct Bureau in the Constitution. But today, what happened? Where we say, how can you tell me that up to now, Code of Conduct Bureau is still, federal secretariat? Not empowered? Look at the funding. They don't have even their own building. Look at the staffing. These are reason to truncate, because when you go down, I remember Mr. President Buhari saying, if you want to fight corruption, go to Code of Conduct Bureau, because it is enormous. The power given to the Code of Conduct Bureau, not just asset declaration, abuse of public office. How did you prevent contractors giving a job? Today, you see a lot of public offices owning properties, owning estate. You see some governors, some senators, name it, across the board. In every sector in this country, corruption is the bane of our major issue, and it must be nipped down. And to fight corruption is required collective effort of every Nigerian. The media, all of us put together. The chairman of Code of Conduct Bureau, Professor Isa Mohammed, is trying everything possible to make it work along our colleagues, our members. But guess what? When you fight corruption, corruption fight back at you. That is what we have found ourselves. But I tell you today, the billions and trillions of Nigerian resources is outside this country. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Who stole the money?
That's the
Who are the people that stole the money?
That's the question anti-corruption agency issue and find answers to. The issue of corruption fighting back is not today we are beginning to hear it. We should expect that after, for instance, the EFCC 20 years almost in existence. That's 2003, I guess. Almost 20 years in existence. ICPC, we have the Code of Conduct. We have the even Bureau of Public Complaints Commission. That's another anti-corruption agency that we rarely hear of. Have we not gotten that institutional experience and institutional memory to begin to really short-circuit some of these impediments?
I think I will try and talk to my brother, and it's not as if I'm castigating your bureau. But the problem is that if your bureau was active enough, if your bureau was, up to the task of releasing information to the public when they send you, a request to have the form of those who are fined, whatever property they own and all that, and check all the processes, then it will be easier for us to track some of these persons, because you should have record of, if you are doing code of conduct for public officers, it should be easier for you to have record of every of their conduct and how they progress in public service. And if you must fight corruption, you must fight it from a holistic point of view. One, you can't have civil service where they don't have accommodation, they don't have quarters, they don't have, their enumeration are not paid as when due, they don't have a transport system, organized transport system. Everybody has to go to work with their car. And if a servant is buying a car, he will pay complete cash. This encourages corruption. It creates loophole for corruption. You must be able to have this facility in place and give them comfort, so that they will be able to know that whatever they are fighting for, their reward is not in heaven, that their reward also is here. So these are factors that encourage corruption in our system. We have a public service that those who are serving for 35 years in the army, in the military and the civil service as a whole, you don't encourage them to give their best. They have been ignored, they have been neglected, they have not been encouraged to perform to their optimal best. You must create an enabling environment for them to have comfort, for them to see
minimum comfort
at least. When you go to London, you stayed in US for a very long time. When you go to these places, you hardly find people parking cars or trying to buy cars, because the transport system works. As I speak to you, people transport from Nyanya to town with 1,000 naira, 1,500 naira. And sometimes their salary is not beyond 30,000 naira. And let's look at the minimum wage, maybe 18,000. So you cannot have that system and you do not encourage people to dip hand into where they shouldn't. So you must first of all nip this process, put a foundation where comfort, minimum comfort, as he has said, appear to exist. And if this appear to exist, you will see that people will know. You can't be serving for 35 years and you find out the man was elected as House of Reps, as House of Assembly, just for 4 years. He's living a life of luxury. So what is the...
2 years for a council.
Yes, what is the balance? The councilor, forget local government election, they have failed in all ramifications.
No, I mean the reward system for
in some of the states, the councillors are like messengers because of the failure of the local government system in Nigeria. Section 197 granted that opportunity. Section 7, Section 1 also give them that power. But it has not worked because the governors have taken over the process. So we must encourage a balanced system. If the system is balanced, driven by justice, equity, and fairness, then you will see a reduction in
fairness, even to the remuneration of the public.
Let me say this, clearly to our viewers. Yes, it is good to create accommodation for the civil servant, but you have to look at what has happened in the past. You see, just let's take, for instance, Apple legislative quarters. Let's take, for instance, some of these, civil servant estate that was built by the government for the purpose of which you are talking about right now, to help to coaching some of these civil servants to create an enabling environment for them to have a place to stay, to live, and also to have transportation, means of transportation back and front to work. But somebody came, decided to sell all those assets that belong to federal government.
So the occupiers.
Hold on. When you sell it to the occupier, what about those that are coming? You talking about?
You know the reason.
Let me finish. No.
Let me
just throw. No.
You have all the time in the world. I guarantee you that. Just to explain,
I don't think I have all the time in the world.
To stress this point.
Okay, go ahead.
And now, the reason given by the administration then was that the maintenance cost was skyrocketing, and it was a conduit pipe to take away funds, the annual maintenance funds of these public assets that...
Are you speaking for them?
That's the reason.
Let me tell you.
I'm putting the...
You are talking about... That is not the reason.
Behind
are you
telling
me the reason why legislative quarters was sold? Are you telling me it was sold because
that's the explanation given by government.
That's what I put on the table. As a result of third-term agenda. I want to remind you of that. As a result of third-term agenda at that particular time. That was why.
Why did you reach this conclusion?
Your reading.
No, it's not the reading.
Why did you reach this conclusion?
No, listen to me. If you live in this country and you have not understand this country, how it works, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I'll be highly disappointed because, you see, corruption we are talking about is in every circle, everywhere you look at. And to find that, when we begin to argue, a government that came, most of these built infrastructure you are seeing today, built by the military. Okay? Yet this democracy, they are trying their best, especially this regime. This regime, look at the infrastructure that we have put up. Look at the railway sector. Look at the transportation sector. Look at the federal roads. I'm not holding brief for them, but we are not where we used to be. We are not where we ought to be.
I think as an officer of the Code of Conduct, you should
let me bring you back to
the
issue of, I want us to deal with it, and I want your comment on it also. The issue of sale, the rationale for the sale of, or for the implementation of monetization policy, especially for buildings in the country. You said it was linked to third term.
Not all of them were linked to third. I'm only talking about the legislative quarters.
Yes.
Was linked to third term.
But it wasn't the only buildings that were sold.
Look at Transcorp Hilton. Sold. Why? What asset?
There's a privatization program of the government that is still being implemented now.
That's part of corruption. The process of which it was sold, that is part of corruption.
Okay, it's the process you're not happy with.
The process is part of corruption. When you fight corruption, corruption comes in different ways. It's not just only taking bribe or whatever. Conflict of interest, abuse of public office.
Very strong point.
Are you with me? That is corruption. So corruption is so deep that, when you go holistically, this is the Constitution. It's enshrined. Go to section 153. That the fifth schedule part 1. So it tells you what it entails, the code of conduct, how to fight the menace of corruption, preventive measures, like we have said. We must be preventive. We must be reactive. I mean, proactive, not reactive.
Okay.
Until we are able to do that.
I want him to make a quick comment on the assertion you just said.
I think government have no business maintaining these quotas, sincerely, because the level of siphoning that occurs through that process is on a high scale. So, one of the things government did at the time was that it was on owner-occupied basis first. First, you have the right of first refusal. Even if you are level 4 officer, level 3 officer, there was no discrimination in the process. So that process gave a lot of people opportunity to own, quotas in Kubwa, Gwarimpa, Nyanya, and other places, those who couldn't afford to start a structure. My focus is the ability, is the sensitivity of government to the plight of Nigerian workers and to the plight of the ordinary people. We have federal housing authority. There could be a program, where you build and civil servants pay for 20 years while they are living.
They have the program.
Because when you work,
for Federal Mortgage Bank, what's the capital outlay? How many can they?
What we are saying, when you have given a person a job and the person will take 35 years and will take 60 years of age to retire and also have other reasons why he will stay in the job, you should be able to build the estate. Build this estate, hand it over to them while they pay instrumentally. It will give them mortgage system. Because you can't wake up now. For every young man that joined the Federal Civil Service, we have to gather a complete money, buy blocks, and have a building erected by himself. It puts pressure on the system.
Or even pay on an annual basis.
With the economy right now,
so
do you think we can afford to build houses for all civil servants?
We need to cut down the size of our spending. There's a lot of spending.
Even putting in a strong
cutting down
mortgage system
on the size of our spending.
Not
really,
building houses.
The major problem, you are not hearing me. Listen to me. Corruption. As eating us. Do you know the money that have been looted out of this country? Be sincere to you. Ever since I came, I was sworn in as Federal Commissioner to the Code of Conduct. I took an oath. That oath that I took is to abide, to defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And for me, nobody is above the law. And it is well clear, even in the Constitution, the mandate of Code of Conduct, the power of Code of Conduct, as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended in 1999. Ever since I came on board, I have not seen anyone who came to request for any form whatsoever that have been denied. To my knowledge.
That's the Access Declaration form of a public servant.
Yes, of public servant. Listen, it's even in the Constitution. So, at least what we are all experiencing today, just I was reading on social media a while ago, somebody carved it. He said, President Buhari, he said Buhari is dead. God forbid. They try to imply just to put some negative, to blackmail, to put Nigeria in bad light. And I was jetting. I have to read through. By the time I read through, it is not Mr. President. But the person who did it on purpose. So social media...
Maybe one Buhari in one remote place.
To create traffic for the side.
To traffic for the side, but that is wrong.
But the person who died actually is Buhari.
Name Buhari.
So
they
just for you to find out
that name.
Now, I don't think that what we have been saying is that, blackmail, social media blackmail. Okay? Yeah. So, if anybody have a reason and you have to pass through the normal process to obtain, why not? Why not?
Well, what's the normal process? What's the normal process?
Is to apply. You apply. That's it. As a Nigerian, it is your right. But for somebody to
using the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes, but for somebody to say, oh, President Buhari, look, just to put Mr. President in bad light, that is not fair to the Code of Bureau. That's not fair to the CCB. That's not fair. We are doing a hell of a job. It is not easy. We're talking about federal appointments, federal officers, state officers, local government officers that we have to undertake in asset declaration you know, situation.
Maybe this new resolve
Apart from that,
is the resolution of the president's leadership.
To look at
and
petition.
we'll definitely put it to test.
To look at petition.
To really see whether it works in real terms, apart from
But if I tell you the petition that comes in daily, it's amazing. With how many staff? We are short of staff, short of funding.
You're already giving excuse.
No, don't tell me we're giving an excuse. How do you expect the code of conduct to succeed? We have 36 states. We have offices in 36 states. And we are
millions of public servants.
And we are poorly funded. You are giving about 700 million a year to do what? Because they have truncated, they have handcuffed CCB not to function because fighting corruption starts with Code of Conduct Bureau. If you really want to fight corruption,
so if the president
must be empowered to do his job.
If the president says anti-corruption is one of the 3 cardinal principles, why has it not improved on the budgetary allocations to the bureau?
As the request been made.
Let me tell you. Do you know before I came in, their budget, they even got 200, 300, 400 million. It has even been increased to 700, 900.
That's capital budget.
Yes.
So from 200 to 300 million. Are there other areas you think?
No, we are not even begging for 900 million.
How would they make best use of these lean resources?
Sometimes the effectiveness of our office it also depends on the occupier of that office. You know, let me tell you something. There's so much attention on ESC because they are performing and they're working. And
because they have been given the tools to work. When you don't have the tools,
you know, I purposely
don't have the infrastructure,
restrict myself from interjecting. It's what I could have done.
He will answer.
Can you go to the file without compliance to go?
The Code of Conduct Bureau is a product of the Constitution. Very powerful organization.
Even more powerful than ICPC.
Than ICPC.
Powerful, but
can I say this? Can I say this? You can make Nigeria queue behind you if you start to do your duties effectively and promptly. I am telling you, Nigerians are very simple people, very aligning people. Let me tell you, people talk about social media a lot. What have saved this country is that because social media exists. Those who are very effective, Chima Albani, Olisagbakuba, what they call it, the plaque DC, they had no social media. By the evening, Great Oracle Abdul Mahmoud, the former president of NANS, they wake up in the night, they're in Uniben. They wake up the next night, they're in JOS. And they were able to organize their students to be able to fight against the military dictatorship as of that. Let me tell you, the reason why we have this peace is because your children and our children, and those younger ones to us, are busy engaging on social media. That's the reason. If you take away social media, people
the anger there.
Yes, they are venting the anger there. So people complain on social media, and I look at them. They have not done scientific review of the process. That is saving us because of the unemployment rate by Bureau of Statistics is about staggering 33%. So what we are saying is that we are focusing on the real issue, on the wrong issue. We must focus on the right issue. The Code of Conduct Bureau could save Nigeria a lot of money, could make public officers become responsible to their duties, and make Nigerians know this is what you have. Not that people are, let me tell you, perception is a big deal. If people have a certain perception, it's stronger than reality. And if you wake up and people think that you will allow your members, those who are aligning to parties that appoint you, allow them to put in figures that are not in existence, and then, occupy that office was why they are in public office to balance the process. These are perception in public domain. So for you to
anticipatory, they call it
anticipatory declaration.
So
no, please, my brother, can you just hold on 1 minute? Let me just clear this up.
Social media, has come to stay. It has an advantage and disadvantages. Whether you like it or not, social media is very important. It's also good. I have used it in the past and the present, but all I'm saying is that let us be careful how we use it negatively. But constructively, social media is powerful. It's good. There's nothing wrong about it. The world is a global village now. But however, we must be constructive so that we don't use it to the detriment.
You didn't allow me to finish.
No, I've allowed
there's something about you spoke with a long time more than there's something about social media.
Let him just,
you have a confirmation process. If you have a news that you are not okay with, you can confirm. Then when we were dependent on rumor, on mere rumor where people could just stay in Yaba market and say that somebody is killing people in Yaba street, and there's already a riot and killing everywhere. There's no confirmation process. So if you have a better platform where if you see a news, you can go to a source and then do a confirmation. In fact, there are a lot of other social, how they call it, social media news outlets who are doing what they call fact checkers, who have become fact checkers. Even people like CDD or CDD. Yeah, there are a lot of these other organizations. You should key into them, align with them, and look at this fact checking process. So, but if you try to, the Constitution said one thing, and you must take it into cognizance that people are allowed to hold opinion and impact that also opinion without any form of restriction.
But let me tell you, social media have also helped us. They are helping us in so many ways. Let me tell you.
Whistleblowing.
In whistleblowing.
Yes.
So, because the public also have the right to tell us, let us know information is power. And if we don't get it, most of the investigation that we have been conducting, some of them came from social media. Not only that, even on print media, even on print media. But what I'm saying is that we must be constructive. Let us look at it deeply so that we don't destroy our country, because we have no other country. This is our country, Nigeria. Let us be proactive, not reactive. Are you with me? Let us have preventive measures. Let us put everything in place. All Nigerians, we are all part of this country. It's going to require collective effort of every one of us to put Nigeria among the leading nations. I can't do it alone. With your support, with the media support, the social media support, our society group out there, I think we can get somewhere. But I'm just saying that Code of Conduct Bureau is here to help to curb the menace of corruption. And I've always said, every public officer
must up your game.
Should have this. They should have this handbook, the presidency public officer handbook. It helps you, it guides you, so that you don't fall a victim, because ignorance is not admissible in law. It's not. Like our friend at this former CJN, it's the same code of conduct. Nobody have given credit.
I don't think we should go into this.
Yes,
issue. Let's leave that.
No. It's not going about this, but you won't give credit.
Everybody has an opinion.
Oh, come on.
He's not here to defend.
No, he's not here to defend himself. But what I'm saying is that
the point he made is getting the people involved in this anti-corruption campaign is key. The institutions have been doing it all by themselves.
Yes.
And we have seen the result. There's a huge limitation as to what you can achieve. So getting the people involved, you mentioned the positive role the social media has played, but there's that responsibility on the institutions fighting corruption to make it a national, a people-driven fight.
We need your support. That's what we are doing here. That's what my brother is talking about, is how to get to the next level. Because nobody is perfect. Your idea, my idea, collectively can bring Nigeria to the right path. But what we are doing and what we are doing today, as at now, I think the Code of Conduct Bureau is here to put Nigeria in the right path. Because, look, failure to declare an asset, because you made mention that preventive measure. The reason why this Code of Conduct Bureau was established was as a result to curb the menace of corruption to the barest minimum. But have we gotten there? No. But I think we are going somewhere. If we continue to educate our people that you must declare your asset, because if somebody is employed and you declare your asset, your exit, you also declare to ascertain whether your salary commensurate with what you have. You have acquired over the years.
And somebody told me that the number of officers you have doing this, what do you call it? Comparing assets before and after. Doing this verification is so few that it will take them 1 million years to complete the task.
Thank you very much. Now you are talking. This is what I'm talking about. With a staff of less than 800, how can you, gain, to achieve anything of that matter?
Have you made requests?
Yeah, we are working on it. This board, I must give them kudos. They are working day and night.
You're examining yourself.
I said we.
Yes, are you examining yourself?
I said this new board, I'm part of the board. So we are doing everything to see how we can make some changes, how we can change the narratives.
Okay.
Because something must be done. And I'm happy Mr. President is so eager and to see that this Code of Conduct move to the next level.
Okay, now, do you think, even with the lean resources, they've done enough? Have they convinced Nigerians
they haven't done
that they are ready to really champion this anti-corruption?
No, they haven't done it. Let me give you a scenario. When I came to Abuja, Abuja was like, a cast heaven for us, for those of us coming from Lagos. And suddenly, the place became very bad. There were resources, the same level of resources that was available was what RFI came and changed the narrative. The same level of resources. And then even improve upon how internally generated revenue will be gotten. And RFI have left. Look at the state of Abuja. You can compare. So the issue is that when you hold an office with the lean resources, you must first of all do something to pull Nigeria with you. Then the presidency will also see, and the president will say, no, this one is even more stronger. You have more spread. You have more. You have power in the constitution given to you, and you must also be transparent, because transparency is the foundation of every success when it comes to anti-corruption crusade.
I agree with you.
One of the things you will do is to make sure that when people are elected, we must go for when the constitutional review is going on. If there was anything stopping you from making public the asset declaration, you should have applied to the National Assembly, like what INEC is doing.
No, we've done that.
Like INEC is struggling. Can I just clear this?
We have done that.
No, we'll come back for more
Can I clear this? Like INEC is attempting. They're doing. You can
joining issues within the public domain.
You have already been given this power. The issue with Nigerians that when they get power, they are looking at, let's not offend the authority that has empowered us. No, you are when you are in power, whether you are in the presidency, you are a governor, you are no longer representing the interests of one group. You are representing the interests of the populace. So you must take into these facts are very important. Pursue this process, publish this asset that has been declared, so that Nigeria can also help you to track whatever extra asset that is added on top of the one that have been declared. So you will have a larger group of investigators behind you.
You see, let me tell you, you just made mention of
you would have solved all our
Governor
problems.
Erufai when he was in FCT here. But as at that time, you see people were also castigating him. Now, after he left, they now know that his value, that he did so much. Is it not? So, but what I'm saying is this.
So will they apply to the present leadership when
No. Whatever castigation RFI got was from those who were losing their property with, ignorance, you said. It's not an excuse in law.
Yeah. And some of them have merit. Because they won a lot of cases in courts that the government did not follow due process.
Yeah, well, to add to what you have said, I think, the chairman and the members of the board, we have taken the initiative to approach the National Assembly and the enabling laws to help us put the Code of Conduct Bureau in the right part, and that is ongoing. Thank God with their cooperation and the cooperation.
So you're sustaining the lobby of the National Assembly?
Yes, that's because that is the National Assembly. They are the one that is the power to,
amend the
to amend and to repeal and to sponsor or to set up a bill. Without them, we can't move further. But cooperation is what we need, and they have done that. And we are just waiting for the outcome of the next, the result from the National Assembly. However, I think, the Code of Conduct Bureau, like I said before, is here to help support Nigerians. We are not here to witch hunt, but to declare your asset and to remember that ignorance is not admissible in law. Okay. And make sure you declare your asset, a public officer, and whether you are state government, local government, or federal government, and you must declare your asset. It is mandatory, and a lot of people have not done that, and because by the time you are caught.
Don't give excuses.
Don't give
now,
any
let's
excuse.
see if we can make this a bit hotter as we close in about 5 minutes. How will you rate President Muhammad Buhari's anti-corruption fight, a cardinal principle in more than 6 years?
I think so far so good. For every successive government that have come, they've done their best. They are doing their best for, I said earlier, their foundation that will not allow you to succeed. You must solve that foundational problem, and because whatever you are doing will become, sort of politicized if those foundational problems are not solved. Like, EFCC are taking their campaign to schools to talk about with children. There should be synergy between EFCC, Code of Conduct, ICPC, and National Orientation Agency to be able to, educate our people and then give them a new, focus other than the focus that you have. Because people are celebrating this issue. If you look at the celebration on social media, is that when wealth is gotten, questions should not be asked. So if this thing continues, even members of us of our House of Reps are throwing money from the rooftop. Nobody's arresting them. You know, throwing money to their constituents, you know, as if you could have organized them and shared that money if there was human dignity in the process, if that was respected. So every of the government have done their best, but we can't solve this problem while jumping over the other problems.
Is this administration laying the foundation for this desired change?
For me, I can't give there's no score. Those students that can get 100% score mark, but the process is ongoing. He has said what they are doing, that they have increased their budget from 200 million to 700 million. That's also
that was before I came, but now we've just, you know, the last one was 700.
Okay,
hopefully
so
900. But that
and you want to hit the billion.
Listen to me. You know, there's nothing you can do.
So I think that the president should strengthen the Code of Conduct Bureau. It's very important because you are looking at small Yahoo boys and these other boys. I don't think that it costs more us economically, economically more than what the public service servants are doing, especially those who are elected, who are supposed to declare their assets and then make it public, you know, so that Nigerians can help you trace it.
Is there something different that is being done now we have not seen in the past?
It's the same approach for all the process. It has been the same approach.
Mr. Amechi, he has said everything, and he has put it straight that this government is trying their best. So I don't know.
Now, is that best enough?
You want to ask him for that question. What are you trying to get from him?
No.
So you are looking for a different answer.
No, not different answer.
Is that what you are looking for?
Yeah, we reached the conclusion.
This government is doing their best.
We reached the conclusion that what is happening is not different from what has happened in the past.
Well, let me say.
Maybe that's where you should start from.
You know, nothing you can do today. You know, the world is a global village. And Mr. President Buhari, to be honest, let's call a spade a spade. We are not where we used to be. We are not where we ought to be, but we are progressive. And we should give him, as if some kudos. You know, I'm not saying that everything is perfect. No. If I'm telling you that everything is perfect, then I am wrong to myself. There are so many areas that we need to tackle. This issue of corruption. But don't forget, when you fight corruption, corruption fight back at you. And they have been fighting back. And you'll be surprised tomorrow when somebody, you know, comes to you, oh, the code of conduct is harassing them. You'll be the first person to start attacking us that we're harassing them.
I hope you are not taking their legal defense as fighting back.
Grounds.
I hope you are not taking their legal defense, you know, as fighting back.
No, that's not fighting back. That's not fighting back. But, you know, do you know what it means, fighting back? Try to see that the code of conduct be real. You have said it
because sometimes self-defense is seen as fighting back.
Yeah, sometimes
that's
one
right
of the things
someone
you
to
have
defend him or herself could be termed
as fighting back. See, if you do something that is
if you
transparent,
say corruption is fighting back, have we established the fact that if that particular person is corrupt by a court judgment?
You know what's called cheap blackmail? You know what's called cheap blackmail?
You can educate me.
You know, that has been going on for a lot of years. Since Buhari came in, you know, there has been a lot of cheap blackmail to derail the way of progress. You know, let us be focused. Let us be focused, really, sincerely. If Nigeria succeeds, guess what? All of us will be happy and be
Absolutely.
We are not that country. You know, like America, Great Britain, there's corruption all over the world. I live there. There's corruption all over the world.
The difference is
how
we approach ours.
So the impunity, we must stop the impunity. Not just Mr. President, from governors to senator to House of Rep to local government to House of Assembly speakers, state and all that. All of us collectively, as a public officer, it is your duty to declare your asset. Failure to do that, you are doing yourself.
As we get set to go, you believe the president has made tremendous progress or average progress?
Of course, in more than average. More than average. I'm not a spokesman, but I'm telling you, more than average. More than average.
What criteria did you judge in reaching this?
Let me tell you, in the sense of this corruption that he's fighting, I'm not saying that there's no corruption in this government. But for the fact that Mr. President is fighting it head on, and today people are afraid. The fear of the unknown is in place.
That body language fear, has it not expired?
No, it has not expired. It has not expired. Because look at the infrastructure. Look at the railway sector today. Look at the federal roads. in this country.
No, don't talk about federal.
Hold on,
I
hold
try
on.
to
Okay, I
hold
think
on.
Hold on.
it's
When I
time for
talk-
us to say goodbye now.
Hold on.
Please,
When I
time for
talk
us to
about,
say goodbye.
look at power
Code
sector.
of conduct should be
It's getting
arresting.
better. Is it not in this country that $16 billion was stolen
Okay.
for power sector? Is it not in this
Not
country that
proven.
300 billion naira? for
No,
Not
the other
proven,
issues,
not
I- I'm avoiding not
Thank
to
you
go
so
to
much.
where
No,
the
you must
failure
talk
is.
about it. Don't
let's
avoid.
end on a good note.
Let's say the way it is.
You've
we-
landed.
that means we have to be talking
You've
about
landed
I wanna
that the
encourage
president
you.
has made
I'm not the-
tremendous
but we are
progress.
just-
And that's where we leave
I
it.
wanna
Johnson
thank you and
Agboa
thank you.
Anyema
I
is
wanna-
the federal
I wanna
commissioner.
give you this.
We don't,
I want to give you this
Thank
so
you.
to encourage you that
Yes.
public officer handbook. This is the president.
Thank you.
Code of
States.